imagine the stream being, hi, do you want to close?
Alright, we are live. Hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. So today we're gonna talk about our experience as the managers of the Necrozma Prism. Unfortunately, Vishy is not physically here with us.
Our co-manager.
So our co-manager Vishy, but we'll have to make do. I think there's a lot that happened in this league, and we wanted to essentially just share our experience, just so that we also have it documented out there, and also for other people who are interested in these types of player leagues. If you want to know what it's like managing a team, what the experience is like, this is it. Yeah.
Yo, hi.
Good morning.
The legendary Unknown Beast.
Javier and DJ Amazemaker Anubis.
Javier is going to play a final of a tournament and play against
Pumas. Well, wow, okay. Either way, a Prism player wins.
Yep. Good luck.
Are you playing Series 11 or are you playing BBSP? And so, yeah.
I forgot to mention that this is kind of our first time in our VGC careers, right? Being manager. So I kind of echo what Andrew said, that we really it's like the very first experience. So there was a lot going on, and it was a very fun ride.
And it's not we're not unfamiliar with player leagues, but it's our first time managing, so it's definitely a different experience overall. And so we have a lot to talk about. Essentially, we'll probably go through some of the things that we wanted to talk about, but if anyone in the chat has questions about what we've done, just let us know. And if there are managers out there that also have things to say about their experience, that would be great. Like, it would be nice to learn from other managers as well about the things that you've done, so that in the future, if we do manage a team again, like we would be better at it, essentially.
Yeah. So we kind of have this timeline of things to say. So I think it's nice to sort of start from the start, the very beginning, like how I really gave Andrew the idea to join this redacted league together. I also think that one small side note is that it's very nice, like this can sort of sound like a podcast, and then everything can you guys can have access to it as a VOD, or you can even post it on YouTube. So it's a very nice way to close out whatever we did in one nice video.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe we'll just go through. Too loud. Okay. Thank you, STCYGG. Oops.
Yeah, I think that's enough. That's good enough.
Is this better? I've made it a bit softer.
What were you saying about the...
No, I think we can just go through the high-level points of what we want to talk about, and then we'll go into them one by one. So as Evan said, we'll start with the idea of managing a league, how it all started, how we thought of signing up, and then of course there's a lot of work that goes into the pre-draft. So before the draft even happens, there's a lot of prep that we need to do, and then during the draft, and even shortly after the draft, as soon as the players are confirmed, we meeting the team, we'll talk about that experience, and then there's also what happens every week, all the prep and the hard work that goes into every week. We'll talk about that experience as well, and then I guess we'll end up with assessing how we did as managers, like just recapping the overall experience and maybe our final thoughts.
Okay, true.
So maybe Evan, if you want to start
I was about to ask you, like, do you remember like when I actually asked you, right? Because both of us, with some context, we kind of were fresh off of the World Cup experience, right, from Victory Road, and then like the timing of the league was actually quite impressive because there wasn't any big tournaments happening, and then the World Cup was about to conclude Series 10, right, with no Dynamax.
Yep.
And there was this new series that was yet to be announced. And
yeah, we didn't know what Series 11 was gonna be like yet when we decided to sign up as managers for EGL. Although we did know that most likely the whole league will be in Series 11, whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I kind of just... I think Andrew told me that you wanted to like to join as a player.
Yeah, I was considering it. So actually, yes, Zeno, yes, this is both of us.
Hey, yo!
Hello.
I came over to Kaizen's place.
How are you? It was fresh from World Cup, and then I feel like I had we got eliminated early from the World Cup, so I kind of felt like I wanted to play more.
Okay.
So I said, look, EGL is coming up, and I remember I messaged Ryan after season 1 or something, like when is season 2 going to start. So I was really keeping an eye on EGL, thinking of joining as a player. Then I remember I was asking Evan, so hey Evan, I'm thinking of signing up for EGL as a player. Do you want to sign up? Like, you know, are you interested in playing? And then I think Evan joked, what if we sign up as managers?
Yeah.
I think initially it was a joke, and then I was like, that actually sounds like a good idea. Like maybe we should actually really consider that and think about what it takes to be a manager.
Yeah, I feel like from my point of view, I feel like at that time, if I remember correctly, it was still either top 16 or top 8 of the World Cup, and then Singapore was still in. So I was still also stressing for like my match that I was about to play, and I kind of had a very close relationship with the managers in Singapore because we were all just close friends, sort of together as a group, going to play the World Cup together. So I thought maybe I'll try my hand at being a manager, since I kind of mirrored, like I kind of like followed the Team Singapore managers and saw what they did and how they communicated with Victory Road.
Yeah, and I think in my case, I guess similar to Evan, I was not formally a manager, but let's say I could see the effort that my previous managers put. Team Philippines manager Enrico, and then my manager in the Philippine Pokémon League, so I guess the Philippine equivalent of MPA, Francis. You know, I could see the effort that they put, and I was very active in helping out, but I felt like it would be a good experience to see what it's like to be a manager. And in a way, I was also thinking, to be honest, I was also thinking of being a manager for the next edition of the Philippine Pokémon League if it comes out. So I was thinking, you know, maybe I could see what being a manager is like with EGL, and see whether it's something I really want to do. So that's essentially how it all started. So we ended up signing up. At that time, we couldn't sign up as a pair, right? We both had to sign up individually.
Yeah, it was just the nature of the sign up sheet, but you can indicate that you want to be a co-manager with this person. So I think that they were quite relaxed in terms of the sign-ups, and yeah, that could be a good or a bad thing. But ultimately, it's kind of a very small league. Like the premise of season 1, they just wanted to get a lot of like sort of players together, even players that aren't very good, right? Like aren't very notable, well known. Yeah, that's the word. And what the heck? Yeah, so like and at least these players come together, and even in season 1 they kind of made efforts to get even like extremely new players to get involved in a separate division and play games at the same time and get exposed to the game, get exposed to VGC. So I thought it was quite healthy, and the idea was good, and like they were very adamant on playing the league in card, and that's quite similar to Victory Road.
Victory Road.
Yeah, actually, Andrew and I have also participated in like something called the APEC League. So it's like the Asia and Australia version of MPA, and we did have some experience there as players. So ultimately, we weren't strangers to the league scene, right? The player league scene, and I think going into this, like being a manager, was just very exciting to begin with.
Right, just reading the chat a little bit. Christmas party, Pog. Finally seeing Evan in a better camera quality.
Was my camera so bad? This is a
really?
very good camera. This is a real step up. But this is not a webcam.
Yeah. So essentially, we have what's this? It's a DSLR, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you can just plug it into your computer and turn it into a webcam. So I guess that's why. STCY says, will you co-manage in another league soon? I don't know. It's definitely something to consider, but obviously now we just kind of
like the league just ended as well, right? Yeah, so taking a break makes sense. So we move on to the next point, which is like prepping for the league, since we already signed up and sort of confirmed that we were managing the same team, right?
Yeah. So we had a lot of ideas and I guess ambitions when we got selected.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, now that we're managers, like there's so many things we want to do. We want to be the best. We want to show that we can do it even if we're first timers.
And we were also representing Asia, right?
In a way, yeah, we were the only Asian managers, and in a primarily America/Europe league. So it was definitely an interesting kind of interesting thing to be part of. And we also noticed that during the signups there were quite a number of players from Asia as well that signed up. I think more than in season 1, which was really nice to see. I think a lot of people came from the hype of the World Cup. Some of them, the World Cup was probably their first taste at something like a player league, and they wanted more. So we were very happy to see that. And it's not just players in Asia. I mean, we had other players from LATAM, Europe, even the US, that kind of saw the World Cup or participated in it in some way, and then wanted to participate in another league. So that was really cool. But I think the biggest thing that we wanted to do for the pre-draft was to make sure we understood the player pool really well. Because again, we were the only Asian managers, so even if we knew the Asian players, there were a lot of other players from, let's say, LATAM or Europe that we might have not known very well, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we were not at a disadvantage going to the draft because we don't know that so-and-so player is actually very good.
Yeah, that's fair. And it's also our very first time as a manager, so although we have experience as players before, but sometimes we need to do a little bit more digging, right, to find out more about the players that actually signed up for the league.
I mean, as a player, you just sign up, and once you get drafted, maybe you do a bit of research on the captains, but then once you get drafted, it's like
you can be in anyone's team, like, right? Yeah,
anyone's team, whoever's your teammate, it doesn't matter. You just show up for your match every week and play.
Or maybe like if you finally get into a team, then okay, maybe you just get to know this small group of people, right? But now we are looking at this whole sign-up sheet of everybody's entries, and then there are some names that we really don't know, or we've heard before or seen somewhere on Twitter, but then we just don't know much about them.
And it's like, we had how many sign-ups? About 200?
I think so, yeah. About almost there, yeah.
Almost 200. So, so it's definitely like a lot of people to take note of. That was the first challenge. I think the second challenge was finding another co-manager.
Yeah.
So
there was like, you know, to summarize it.
Okay.
Co-manager
I'll talk about the situation. I kind of contributed to it. So basically, there was a team where the managers could not continue as managers, so essentially that team had to find new managers.
And it felt strange because it was 12 teams, but then if that one team disappeared, it would only be 11.
So they had to find replacements, and essentially there were people that moved to another team, and a team would have more than one co-manager. So they asked everyone if that was okay, and I mean, it's not really a problem. I ended up suggesting for some reason that a team could have more than one, up to 2 co-managers, but only one would play, because you might have the managers and co-managers. A lot of the managers and co-managers are actually really like well-known, really good players. So and Evan and I had no intention of playing.
Yeah.
So if a team would have, let's say, managers and co-managers that are all really good players and they're all playing, even before the draft, we felt that we were already at a disadvantage. So we wanted to look for someone that we think we could work really well with from the list of players that signed up.
Yes.
And we asked around for recommendations. Eventually, we were able to get Vishy as our co-manager, and Vishy's been great. Vishy was recommended by, was it Melvin?
Melvin from Singapore, even Hakim from Singapore.
Yeah.
And there are also players in Singapore that drafted Vishy for their Smogon, the very first Smogon league. It was mostly a sort of a Singaporean draft, and I think there was Vishy and Cyan in the same team, and everybody had good interactions with them.
Yeah.
Additionally, from my buddy Hakim's perspective, he played against Vishy in NPA, and Vishy does have a lot of experience coming off of NPA, and including drafting, which was quite.
Actually, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. Vishy's input on drafting, I think that was really good. So yeah, we got Vishy on board. I think we got Vishy officially on board probably half a week before the draft.
The draft, yeah.
So maybe we can talk about the draft.
I think we can talk about whatever you did, right? Like preparing for the draft. Because I didn't really do much. I just scrolled through everyone's Twitter, I guess, and then went down the sign up sheet to kind of get to know everyone. But then Andrew really wanted to do something more.
Yeah. I had big ambitions for the pre-draft. So my perspective.
From me, right, all I did was maybe let's set up the Discord. That's all, But then and then also maybe do a spreadsheet, because I kind of want to do scouting, sort of continue what I did in World Cup in terms of scouting. But then Andrew did something more.
So I think my first thought was, again, we are not just at the disadvantage of knowing the number of players, but also in terms of actually working with some of these players before. So again, Evan and I have participated in the APAC League, but let's say we haven't participated in NPA, PGL, some of these other leagues where some of these other players might already know some of the captains. So we felt that definitely there will be some really good players that we are unlikely to get unless we really throw in a lot of money in terms of our bid, because they in terms of interest, they would probably want to play for other captains already, and we will not really get the chance to know them that well. So what we wanted to do was find out who in the draft are actually really good players but may not yet be on other teams' radar. So I think the concept, and Evan, you play a lot of Pokemon draft leagues, right?
Yeah.
And the concept is very similar. In those draft leagues, you usually have a tier list of Pokemon, and as a manager, you're looking at drafting Pokemon that are like the best value in their tier list. In the same way, you can think of players in a draft league as also being in invisible tiers. There will be players that definitely will go for more than 20k. Everyone's gonna fight for. There will be other players that will be like in the 10 to 20k bracket, and then others below that. Or even you can consider others that are 3k picks. as another bracket or another tier. So we wanted to make sure that we were able to get the players that we would say are good steals, and we know that they can work well with us and are actually really good players. So the way that we did that was we actually turned our interest form into a very intensive intensive sign up not sign up tryout process.
Okay.
So a lot it's common practice for managers to have an interest form just to see among the players in the sign up sheet
if there's anyone who's actually interested to join your team,
exactly,
right? Based on just the face value of the managers.
But aside from that, we will take it a step further and say everyone who's submitted an interest form for our team, we will actually go through a trial process with them. And actually maybe I can switch over now.
Wow, cool. Yeah, this is like a... So this was all the entries that we got from the sign up sheet. Sign up, what was it called? The sign up responses. Because as an organizer, as a league organizer, you should make all these sign up responses public, right? For the managers to actually look at the pool of players that can be drafted.
Right. So
well, there are no names.
I took out the names, of course, because we don't want to know who passed it or who did well and who did not.
Alright.
But basically what we did was, for everyone that signed up in our interest form, it's automatically linked here, where everyone that signs up, their name appears on this list, and then we just do a simple checklist. We have to contact them and explain the tryout process. So we split the work. Some of them Evan contacted, some of them I contacted, and then some of them will reply and some of them will not reply. Right?
Some of them will reply fast.
Some of them replied fast and say, let's do it now. So basically our process was very simple. We asked them to schedule a match with us, a BO3.
Can be any format.
Any format, any series of their choice. And they can choose whether they want to play on cart or showdown. We let them do the scheduling instead of us because we want to see how they communicate. It's essentially the same thing that they'll be doing in the league anyway.
Yeah.
So
every week
we'll see if, do they understand time zones well? Do they show up on time after they agree to a schedule? Do they give you options in case they're busy and so these are the only times that they can play? There's a lot of things that you can test for with that simple task.
Yeah, to be honest, off the record, I didn't think of these right, and then it was so genius. I didn't expect the part where we can actually gauge someone's communication, not communication skills, but sort of how they communicate and how they sort of perform as a player when the time comes for it, right?
Yes, exactly. So, on the extreme side, I'm not saying this happened, but for some reason maybe a player approaches you, but they're very very messy when it comes to, let's say, their schedules, and let's say you always agree on a time, but then last minute they cancel. Like, those are the players that you might think twice before drafting because you will run into problems as a manager in the league if you have something like that.
Yeah, so in this case, sort of like player skill is not like the number one, kind of that you can also put in the back of your head how they communicate with people, like in terms of the timing, because that can also kind of prevent a lot of other problems from happening when you actually step in and run the league as a manager.
And then for the format, we wanted the players to be as comfortable as possible. Our goal was not to win in the tryouts. There's no point if we just try hard to win. We want them to be comfortable, so they pick the series that they want to play. Again, we emphasize that this could be the series where you feel you can show off your best potential as a player, and then also whether showdown or card, whatever makes them comfortable. The reason why we did this was because at the time, again, Series 11 rules were not yet announced. So we couldn't just say everyone do tryouts in Series 11. That was not possible. And then essentially we could only guess as to what series that would be. I think the only one that we played in real Series 11 was I think it was Jeremy Firaja.
Yeah.
Because by the time that Firaja was going to schedule, we already knew.
It was just like 1 or 2, just 1 week away from the draft.
1 week away from the draft. And I think there are other players that even after they knew what Series 11 was, they felt, for example, maybe Series 10 or Series 9 was still their preferred format, and which is totally fine, right?
Yeah. Then there's one more small part. Anyway, hi Gio.
Gio, good
There's
morning.
one more small part about you saying that like after, because when we sent out like this invitation to play a match against us, play a VO3, then you also included that at the end we will sort of discuss about how the game was played. And for me personally, at the beginning I was quite shy about it, but when I went through the first, the second, third tryout, then it was quite fun.
It's actually like, to be honest, my Izzy, thanks for the follow. What's
I'm in
up?
Kaizen's house, hello.
This is my living room.
Yeah, you're talking about the additional part after the
additional
VO3.
part. Yeah, talking about it. So I was gonna say, this experience actually of doing all these tryouts, this was the most VGC that Evan and I played after World Cup, after a while, and we had a lot of fun. So we play the BO3, we get a sense of what their skills are like, and then we talk to them after. It's a simple question, how do you think the game went? If they lost, what did they think they could have done better?
Yeah.
And then we will also tell them what we felt were the crucial turns in the game that we felt maybe they could have done this, they could have done that.
Yeah, I guess maybe I didn't phrase it well, but then at the beginning I was just very shy. Like I know I want to try and be join as a manager, but then maybe in the perspective of scouting or trying to help people win games, but I didn't expect to be sort of like a teacher or a coach, and I was quite shy to do that because I don't think that I'm like that good of a player as compared to some of the people who signed up.
Okay, yeah. I mean, definitely, there's always that feeling,
So I kind of learned that maybe it's not like us teaching them or us like maybe if we win the best of 3, then we say, oh, maybe you should do this, right? But it's more of a discussion.
It's a discussion.
We are like equals, right?
I was actually looking for that. Like, can they explain to me why they won or lost, and can they do it in a way which is not like, like not just polite but also insightful, right? Because as a team, we're going to be working together. We might ladder together. We might build teams together. I need to understand how you think as a player, and it's very interesting. As Evan said, once you start talking to the players after doing the tryouts, you learn so many things. Actually, it's like you can see that players think about the game very differently, and there are players that are very, they really like to talk about their teams. It's really nice. Maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, because like some players really join the league to make new friends, right? I mean, that's one of the key things for like a player league, to get everyone together and get players to meet other players and improve along the way. Then not only like do we do that from a player's perspective, right? From a manager's perspective, I actually made quite a few friends. I'm actually still in contact with some of the people that I had tryouts with.
Yeah.
That didn't even make it to our team, right? But I could still like talk to them every day and then like discuss what's going on. And like, maybe in BDSP, like in the new format, what's interesting there. Yeah, so that's cool.
So it was definitely a fun experience. I really enjoyed playing the matches. Like, it's also interesting to note that there are some players that one thing I learned personally with some of the players is that they really you can really see how many turns ahead they think, and sometimes it's not even turns but also games. Like quick shout out to Nator Felipe.
Nator 92.
Yeah, he when we had a discussion about our game, he really explained how he was thinking. Not
only just the one game, right?
Not just the one game, but like trying to set me up to lead game 3 in a certain way that is to his advantage. So I think that was really good. I really learned a lot and I enjoyed my discussion with Felipe. So that was a fun experience.
Is there anything else you want to show in this spreadsheet?
In
like
this
for prep?
For the prep, so okay, maybe if
this was just like the tryouts sheet, right? Like
yeah.
we kind of had this. Maybe you can just quickly,
there's
quickly
more to
show that there was one that because now we are moving on like after the tryouts, right?
Yeah, after the tryouts.
To the draft day, and then how we kind of prep for it, because the bids are going to be so fast, right?
Yeah.
And we really need to have the quick access to the player pool, and then like the notes that we took with each individual player. Like if someone gets nominated, oh no, we need to quickly check.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we really want to draft this guy or not?
All right. So here I guess you can see we just rated every player, based on their gameplay and their communication. Some players played extremely well and like definitely will be strong players to have on our team. So going
I was
back,
actually quite lenient with the pass and grade. Then at the beginning I put all great. Then Andrew was telling me, shit, you need to put some pass so it feels like there's a spectrum.
because
there's a
because if everyone's great, then it's not gonna tell me who we should draft and who we shouldn't. So maybe before I show the other player list, we were talking about tiers earlier. So what we did was essentially we created our own tiers.
This was not
maybe I can zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, use this part to zoom. After this you can zoom. Yeah, this was not my idea.
So I made this. Must have definitely players that we really want to have on our team.
And we really want to bid for, pay money for. Yeah.
Specifically, we want to bid for. Great to have. There are definitely a lot of players that I feel, even if they're great players, they might already have a strong tie with another manager, and maybe the chemistry might not be as great if we were to draft them. But if we had them on a team, it would still be a good thing.
We have
right?
some examples in our team actually.
Yeah. Sleeper picks, those that we probably think would go for below the average price but are actually pretty good. And then others would be like 3K picks, players that we would pick to round out the draft. And then for sponsorship, players that we think might have potential. I think for sponsorship, one of the things that we wanted to do, we saw a lot of potential in the sponsorship program.
Yeah, there was this idea in this second season of the league that there is a Colosseum, and because the player, there are only 12 teams, and if each team drafts about 10 players, that's about 120 to 150 players. Then then there are 200 signups, so 50 people will have nothing to do, right? Then their idea was to throw everyone into a Colosseum and fight for points to get a slot into the mid-season draft. So there was such a thing called a sponsorship program where the players will agree with the manager, right, to join a team sort of as a cheerleader. You know this term from PGL or NPA, I guess.
And I think given that we were also trying to build a team that had players that maybe not as well known, the sponsorship program was a good way for us to see if there are other players that are kind of, maybe starting out with VGC, but look like they have a good attitude, and that maybe if they were going to be part of our team, they would learn a lot from the really awesome players that we intended to draft.
Yeah.
Right? So I guess now we have these tiers. Before I go to the playlist, then maybe Evan, we can talk about the type of team that we wanted. Is like what was our criteria for saying this is who we want to draft, this is who we want to avoid. Maybe you can add to this, but for me, the really important thing for this draft. Hey Jeremy.
Oh, I recognize
003. Yes,
Yo.
that's
Jeremy.
Viraja. Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, I want to quickly say that, right? Like preparing for the league, I think Andrew really did way more in this spreadsheet. Because for me, I was kind of more my focus was more on maybe coming up with something nice for to set up for scouting, to have a team database, right?
Yeah.
And all the stuff that happens after the draft. Yeah, but then I think this was really we kind of gelled so well together, because this was something that I wouldn't have done by myself, you know.
Yeah.
I was very thankful for that.
But of course, I still got inputs from Evan.
Oh, then actually my main point was I wanted to say that Andrew just came with me with this like PowerPoint slide saying like these are my goals, these are the type of team I want to draft. These are the players that I kind of have my eyes on, and then like kind of took me it's a pleasant surprise because it shows how committed the both of us are to this league in different ways.
Yeah. So for example, if we talk about the players that we wanted to draft, the team we wanted to draft, I wanted a diverse team. So the goal of us joining the league is to also meet a lot of people. So when we came in, I already knew that I didn't want to draft a mostly Asian team. Because I felt that like if I wanted to draft an Asian team, you know what, let's just manage a team for the APAC League. So I think we made a conscious effort, like for example, for the players that Eva knew in Singapore and for the players that I knew from the Philippines, we wanted to try to somewhat limit the draft, and let these players also experience working with other managers, right? In Jeremy's case, I was not Jeremy's teammate before, so except in World Cup. So Average Anonymous. Thank you for the follow. So for example, I was keen to work with Jeremy as well. And when we say diverse team, we wanted to see if we could get a team that had players from a lot of different places. So time zones also. Like if we draft a mostly Asian team, we'll have a difficult time scheduling, for example. But we could have players from the US, players from LATAM, players from Europe, and players from Asia. That way, if they are also connected to other communities in their local regions, then we can get a lot of ideas from that, right? And I think it worked out really well for us, and we can talk about the team. But that was kind of like the initial thinking that I had. And we also wanted to diversify in terms of like other groups, so it's not just maybe we could meet some players from the seniors group.
So in this case, as well.
we got Mao and Tara who are seniors. We normally don't interact with that many seniors, but we know that a lot of them are really good players also, despite their age. So definitely something that we wanted to try and explore. So I think given that
going into draft day,
we had this. So again, I'm not going to show the names. This was actually a challenge for me to set up because there were some logistical issues. So what I did was I set up a spreadsheet that
steals
imports. I guess imports. It imports the sign-up sheet, the official sign-up sheet from EGL. So anytime someone signs up,
it's automatically
also gets automatically populated here, and then we can put our comments for the player. Then so we have the player, their Discord, we have their sign-up information, and then Evan and I would assign them to the different draft tiers. And actually there are comments for each draft tier. So Evan has his comments, I have my comments. It sounds a bit like objectifying, but we rated every player on a scale of 1 to 10 of how good we think they are.
Because my idea of that is when you're panicking during the draft, when someone nominates, then you can sort the rating from highest to lowest. Then we can see who's at the top of our radar.
Right. So even within the draft tiers, I mean, there are a lot of players that will be considered sleeper picks, or a lot of players that are like 3K picks. But then when you're faced with a tough decision during the draft, do you want to get this person or not? Like, you have to have a sense of where, even within the same tier, where would they sit? But to be honest, it was really hard to assign ratings to some players because we didn't play against them, right? All we only
know them by name, or we only know them by results.
But I think our tryouts were really, I would say they're really successful because we were able to find players that we felt would not be scouted by other teams.
And we were able to get all these like I feel like these players are confident and we can trust them to win games, right? And that's a very nice quality to have as a player. And we managed to get some of these players even for like 3K, 5K.
Yeah. So there are other factors that we wanted to look at in this spreadsheet. So for example, did they submit an interest form? We are more likely to draft a player that submitted their interest form because it means that they want to play with us, versus someone who might not want to, or might not really know us very well. Hey Brian, Tawan. Did you just wake up?
So I think this is what kind of we had going into the draft day and going into nominations, right?
We also looked at those who own capture cards. I think given that the league was going to be on card, we felt that if we had more people that had capture cards, then we could save the footage, we could review replays with each other, and it would be very helpful to prep. So I think that was key. And again, maybe just to add to what everyone was saying, to trust the players to win games. This was a league that had a limit onto how many weeks a player could play in the regular season.
Oh yes.
So I think if you have such a restriction, the best strategy is to just have a team with a lot of really solid players. You have a deeper team rather than a super top-heavy team. Because the top-heavy team, some of your players won't be able to play.
Yeah, then you might feel, as a manager, you might feel taxed to always rely on this small group of people to win games.
Yeah, and I feel like if we're building an environment where we're really encouraging players who don't have enough of the spotlight yet, it's important to have that kind of dynamic, because if you have like a top-heavy team, there'll be some players that might feel a bit left out. So we just wanted to balance their playing time.
So this was the behind the scenes of what happened just before draft. Additionally, like one small thing I had with this interaction is I kind of went on call with Vichy, like when we got him on.
That's this column N.
And then Andrew was sort of still busy at work. Then Vichy saw this. He's like, "What the heck? Why so many? We did so much just to prepare for one small one small draft. It's just one draft, you know, in the year." Then what I found helpful, right, was that I was able to sort according to the tiers that we had, right? And then Vichy was just able to see very quickly who he can single out or who he can recommend to us, and that was so useful. It makes things so much quicker. And I only went on call with him for about half an hour. Yeah, and he had school after that. Then we did it quite efficiently.
Right. Yeah. No, that's really good. So then that's your column N right here. So column N is essentially Vichy's comments, and that really helped, because within a tier, then we can also prioritize even further. Maybe, or even actually, there were some players that I think we might have rated a little bit lower, or probably didn't have that much intention of drafting. But then Vichy's like, no, I think I really recommend.
He's interacted with this guy before, maybe in another league, or he's worked with them before as teammates, so he vouches for them.
So yeah, that was a draft prep.
It was. I don't know whether like other managers were as organized as this, but I really think a huge percentage of the work came from Andrew. By myself, I really wouldn't have done this, and I just embraced it. And I really spent one whole afternoon looking through everyone, checking their Twitter, checking whether they participated in World Cup or not, and putting their actual name down, so that immediately we will have a picture of how this person is as a player. You know. And so overall, I think we worked together to come up with something very organized.
Definitely a team effort. And I guess one fun fact, just before the draft, I panicked a little bit because this is more of an Excel thing.
But organizer.
When you're doing these spreadsheets and you're copying from another sheet,
and you don't have control over that sheet, right?
You don't have control over that sheet. So in this case, the names are like a formula, they're automatic, right? But the comments, our tier list, or our tiers, our draft tiers, the comments and everything, these are manual. So what happened just before the draft was that the organizers were deleting some of the duplicate entries, and I'm not blaming them. I mean, you kind of have to do that just so that it's not messy. But because you delete a row, everything else gets moved up, and then that means that our comments end up being assigned to the wrong row and the wrong player. So we had some players that we labeled as do not draft, and then suddenly they got moved, and then you have a really good player, and then their comment is do not draft. So I panicked for a little bit there. We were able to resolve it somehow, but that's essentially how it turned out.
Yeah, this was the do not draft part.
Yeah. So you scroll down, you go to your 3K pigs, don't draft.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's everything that happened before the draft.
Maybe you want to like talk about, then we can move on to the draft day
The
itself,
draft day
right?
itself.
And it was quite hectic, and I think like it was such a blessing for Vichy to be on call.
Oh, Vichy,
because he was really calm.
Vichy carried us for the
Yeah.
first half of the draft, I think.
And I think if like you guys remember and you were on stream, you could see some of the sort of funny comments that we made, like, and we really had fun during the draft actually.
Yeah, I would say, so Vichy joined us for the first half of the draft because I think he had to go to school after. Was it school?
I think so, yeah.
Or I had to do something after. But basically, he was also the one actively bidding in the channel. So I think we were on call, and Vichy would just essentially get from us a rough range of what our maximum price is going to be, and then he's just going to keep bidding. Like, he would be the one to type it because we didn't want to like double type. It happened. I think it happened once.
Some managers also double type and then like they bid
Bid
1K more for, of one player.
Yeah. So, and I think again, because Vichy knows some of the other players, like the first half of the draft would usually be about the players that are pretty well known, right? And so Vichy would know a lot of these players, and he would know what a fair price for these players would be. So I think it was very important for Vichy to help us out on that front. And I think our first Mando was our first pick, right?
I don't know, because I remember we nommed a lot of people, but then
We nommed a lot, but it took a while for us to get our first pick.
yeah, true.
So I think if I remember correctly, actually no, here
Were you able to? I don't remember.
draft.
Honestly.
Yes, Mando was our first pick.
Wow.
So
Oh.
so this was our nom list. There were some players that we wanted.
No, this was
to,
our drafted list because it wasn't really
no,
our
sorry.
norm.
This stuff in black. The stuff in
okay.
black. I'm not gonna show them because we don't want to talk about names here. But there were some players that we wanted to nominate early to inflate. And then there are players that we wanted to nominate later to get for cheap. Right. So at least when it's our turn, we don't take too long to think of who to nom.
Yeah.
Right. And when it comes to inflating, Evan, maybe you want to talk about this, but sometimes we had to let some players go because we knew they were going to the other division.
Yeah. This was really a very first time experience for the both of us.
Yeah.
We have never drafted players before, so it was a bit daunting also because like Ryan kept doing that, someone kept doing that countdown 10, 9, 8, right? Like, and it's all very time sensitive, and we don't have a board, so we kind of have to like have this hidden agreement to keep to the time. So as with all other like player draft leagues, right, the time is always very sensitive, and there might sometimes be just conflicts about whether we really put the bid in or not. So it's better to always be faster than to just let that 5 seconds or 10 seconds run away. Then in this particular league, there are two different divisions. It's called the Sky Division and the Spear Division, but both are equals. But then there are just 6 teams that are randomly split into both sides. So 6 on top and 6 below. Then soon, like really along the draft, because in the beginning we didn't think of this strategy. But as the draft went on, we realized, even if we draft a very strong player, but that player goes to the other division, that we don't have to fight, right? So I'd rather them go there for more expensive. And then if the people, the teams, the managers at that side want to bid for that guy and inflate their own price, then let them be.
But
that's
not our problem
for us,
anymore.
we're not going to spend our money because we want to keep our money as high as the 6 teams in our side.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely some players we wanted to nominate early to inflate, and if they went to the other side, it's fine. But the goal, at least for the teams on our side, on the Spear side, is to get them to spend more on some of these good players, and then that would free up budget for us to get the players that we wanted.
Yeah, some things I remember is like the first player we nominated was Kyogre SG, and then it inflated until it was so high that we didn't really want to. It was past our budget. You know?
Yeah, it's like.
But he actually went to another team within our division.
It was tough. I mean, Kyogre went to Solgaleo Pride.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kyogre was our first nom, I think, and then Kyogre was at 29,500, which is essentially a quarter.
And it's like two of our players added together.
It's two of our players added together, and so we were like, it's tough that we're gonna have to face Kyogre, but I can't bid 30k for Kyogre.
Yeah.
Like, that was too much. So you will have situations like that, definitely.
Yeah, and then soon it became sort of a when bidding, and I will see, oh, if it's at the other side, okay, let's let it go, right?
Yeah.
But then when the player is being nominated and he's at our side of the division, like our the bottom division, then I'm like, if I think I can fight him, let's not bid for him. So it comes down to whether we want to pick up that guy or whether I feel like I can fight that guy. Because if we feel like maybe we want to get that guy for a little bit more, we just put in a little bit more money, and then that can kind of force out more money from the other teams within our division.
Yeah. But see, if you look at our drafted list, we didn't actually draft anyone for more than 20k in the initial draft.
We did have a 20k limit actually.
20k was pretty much our limit. Well, we could have gone more than 20 if we really needed. That's why we saved up a lot of money. But for the first half of the players, we didn't want to draft pay more than 20.
Yeah, I think some managers also found it weird that we were the team, but our team just ended the league. We had enough players, right? 13 is very healthy because only 7 players can play each week, right? But then we ended because this is our very first time nominating and bidding. Then we ended the draft with so much money, like way more than the rest of the teams. And the rest of the teams really, there were some teams that actually used their money very wisely, right? Because they knew that there were some very good players they needed to grab, and then they really put a lot into those players.
Yeah, and we can talk about, I guess, the impact of having all that money later on.
Yeah.
During the mid-season. But for this draft, like for example, I just want to say, so first we didn't draft anyone for more than 20, but you can see the names here. We have some really good players here, and I would say we got them as steals.
Yes.
So for example, if we take Mando, for example, Mando was the first player that we drafted, and Mando was essentially like Vishy was like, oh, we have to get Mando.
Yeah.
And luckily we were able to get Mando for 14, and I know Mando in the first season of EGL went for a lot more than that. So I was like, okay, wow, we got Mando for 14, nice. And I think Mando, Azurite, Cortex, and those, like, they were the players that we got at the time that Vishy was really helping us draft. So I think that was good. And then My Stars, Viraja were both on our list. I was actually expecting
of like must draft.
Must like,
have.
We really wanted My Stars and Viraja based on tryouts. And for My Stars, I'm not surprised that My Stars we had to bid more than 10k because My Stars was active in Nino's tours.
Yes.
Actually, I think we were bidding with Nino for My Stars.
Yeah.
And I think even Bars might have known who My Stars was. So,
because he was in World Cup as well.
Yeah,
Team Thailand.
But yeah, if they did the research, they would know that My Stars had a good record for World Cup. So, lucky we were able to get My Stars for still, I would say, a relatively low price. I consider the average price actually to be 12k because your budget is 120 and your minimum number of players is 10. So average price will be 12k. If you can get someone for less than 12, that's considered like value. And our like first picks like Mando, Azai, Cortex are not much higher than 12. So I think that was like really good for us. Viraja, I was very surprised that we were able to get Viraja for 3k.
Yeah, because he was the champion of Asia Players Cup Philippines, you know? Like, he even wrote it in his resume. But then the other managers...
I was thinking, like, if Viraja would go for cheap if his sign-up was not that... like, if he didn't list everything in his sign-up. But he did. I think he noted that he played for World Cup, and he noted that he's the Asia Cup champion for Philippines. And I guess for those that are not familiar, he is essentially the only person in the Philippines right now who is eligible to attend Worlds 2022.
Oh.
It's the same for Brian. Brian is currently the only Asada. Brian is currently the only Singaporean.
Because we have a few that have enough CPs.
CPs, okay, because you had CPs from before. But for the Philippines players, that was not the case.
Like sort of like Philippines represent.
Yeah. So given that there's no way for us to earn CP right now, he's currently the only player that can go to Worlds.
Wow.
So we were surprised because the sign-up sheet, he even introduced himself in the EGL introductions channel. So,
he did.
So I was like,
Man.
oh no, like people are gonna know.
So he was very worried.
I
Andrew was very worried during draft.
And that's why we were saving a lot of money. I think there was a huge gap between MyStars and Faraja. We didn't draft many players between MyStars and Faraja. And at that time, when I said now it's safe to nominate Faraja, we had the most money at that time. But we were still expecting some people to
fight for it.
Fight for him. But maybe they were really already running low.
Maybe.
And that's why they had to let Faraja go.
Yeah. We don't really remember all the details because that day was quite hectic. Additionally, it was midnight for us. We started the draft at 11 p.m.
No, it's 12 a.m. We started 12 a.m. and then we finished like 5 a.m.
And maybe 5 or 6, even 6 a.m. I remember. Yeah.
That was crazy. I normally don't sleep very late, so that really
Asians, that
screwed up my sleep schedule.
Look, we completed like our point number 1 and point number 2, like the idea to manage, and then going into the prep and the draft.
Well, one thing I also want to add here is that we ended up drafting a lot of players in pairs, and I think that was
nice point.
That was extremely important. So an example would be Hummus and Javier, both players that know each other very well and are both from Chile. Hummus actually recommended Javier. Yeah, Hummus impressed us during tryouts, and then Hummus said, you should look at my friend Javier. He's also really good. And then I think it was.
I went to scout Javier's YouTube channel.
Okay.
So I could see the level of play.
Yeah. So we said, wow, okay, these two players are really good. Then another pair was actually MyStars and
DJ Amaze. Yeah, you guys know me. And Easy keeps talking about the MyStars Amaze combo during our those recap streams.
Yeah, it was very important to get them as a combo because, first of all, given that we don't really know them that well yet, it will be our first time working with them.
Yeah.
At least they already have someone in the team that they are comfortable with. Like, you don't have to feel so shy to
and there's also maybe like a sparring partner within the team. But at that time, right, on that day, I was still saying like something like, because I didn't really have this in the back of my mind, the idea of pairing friends, right, or combos. Then I was like, if you draft a Colossal, you have to draft a Dragapult, right? If you draft a Selgor, you must draft a Parasect.
You draft this.
Weezing, something like that,
Weezing, so I think it worked out really well for us. I remember for DJ Imposter, the games actually nominated DJ, and I was and I remember, so DJ was also on our list. DJ actually,
it was towards the end of the draft as well.
DJ actually destroyed me in tryouts.
Okay.
And he explained his thought process very well, so he left a very good impression. Then we wanted to make sure that games wouldn't get DJ.
Yeah, because if not, we would have to fight them instead.
And then we have to fight them instead, and it's like, and this is someone that I know knows MyStars very well. So we don't want them to end up fighting each other either. So we just bid the maximum amount, or basically bid an amount that the games could not match, and so that guaranteed us to get Imposter. And I guess you can say even Mando, Ajoy, and Cortex, these are people that Vichy knows from the circuits, right? And especially for Mando and Cortex from the California area. So they do already know each other, which made it a lot easier.
Yeah. Nice. So, do you have any final thoughts on the the draft that we ended up with on.
No, I think
Draft day.
I guess final thoughts. When the rosters came out, a lot of players underestimated our team.
Okay,
I think.
okay. Yeah, like
maybe not.
when they do
underestimated.
predictions on the predictions channel, right?
Yeah.
I don't really pay attention to predictions. to be
It's
honest.
fine. I mean, it actually makes us happier because we know how good the players are,
Mhm.
and I think if people will just predict because they either know the player or not, and a lot of our players maybe they don't know that well, which is totally fine, but we know how good they are, and so always nice to be the quote unquote underdog.
Yeah, and also like floating under the radar, there's not much pressure on the players,
Yeah.
and there's not much pressure on us as well to have to perform so well in the league, right? And then you're like, you're like thinking, this team you have to guarantee and make it to playoffs, right?
Yeah.
There's no pressure. We're just going in, and this is ultimately a league for fun. All Pokemon leagues are just players gathering together, sharing ideas, and trying to get better, right?
Yeah.
By yourselves.
Yeah. So
Moving on
what
to
is
next is meeting the team.
meeting
and like
the
setting up the team, I guess.
you can
right?
talk about this. You did most of the work.
Yeah,
I think.
so I think coming off of like the World Cup, we had a very strong team dynamic, and then we were also very organized in terms of, because here we are organized in terms of the prep for Draft League, but for me I really wanted to go into this league as a manager being very organized in terms of information. So around that time, a lot of people started to know me on Discord, right? For the guy who shared information with the winning team, Team Spain, in terms of scouting and in terms of managing how, like, the information you know from the opposing team, from the opposing players. So I really wanted to set up the Discord very well, because in Discord, like the meaning of Discord means very messy, but actually if you start from scratch and do everything properly with proper channels and a very proper way to record things, because everything is all in the cloud, right? Everything you can access by searching. So so to organize the Discord and also organize the super secret spreadsheet that I sort of came up with.
You want to show that already? Or?
Yeah, we can. Alright. Because then that would be an idea to come up with a team database. Because Series 11 is something that you're going to revisit, right? And there are a lot of teams that perform well in Players' Cup 3 or 4, right? And a lot of teams that perform well back when it was Series 8.
Actually,
back when it was Series
I
8.
actually had I had something like this for World Cup for Team Philippines. It's not here anymore, but it was like a super simple list of Series 8 and Series 10.
You delete it?
No, it's okay, no need to show it. But my point is that Evan really transformed that database into what you see here.
Yeah. And this is a series that you are sort of revisiting. For World Cup, everything was fresh, Everyone was going in with like into a new format, so you really had to grind.
It was the first no Dynamax format too. So
you really had to grind to find a team that you're really comfortable with. There's also always going to be that stupid matchup roulette thing. You cannot prepare for all the restricteds that are going to face. So you're always wanting to try and bring a team that you've practiced a lot with, or just a team that you feel very comfortable to pilot. So I really wanted to go into this, giving everyone options, because there are so many restricted teams. And back when it was Series 8, it was really quite well explored.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who want to be creative and use like maybe Reshiram to kind of come up with a team of their own. So I tried to scour like the internet. Victory Road was very helpful. Aaron Zhang's channel was also very helpful. Adi Subra's channel, CK49, that was very helpful. And then come up with just a database and a starting point, because people are just going to come back to Series 11 like off of a no Dynamax format, So you kind of have to get the oil, get your gears running.
Actually, Adi made that
yes, that was
that
super
video
important for me.
to recap. That was
the
really
meta game
helpful.
changes at the end of Series 8.
Summarizing not just the end, but he also took us through the teams that were dominant early, Series
shoutouts.
8, and then towards later Series 8, just to give you a flavor of what to expect coming into Series 11. So again, shout outs to Adi. That was a great resource that we really used here. And then I'll just show you what exactly this is. So basically, we group the teams.
Yeah, you press plus, right? It will like drop down all the teams that are with that restricted. Oh yes, and then this is gonna be. Yeah, I'm not sure if anyone actually does this because you just need to put in so much effort, and then Twitter is just out there. The internet is out there. Everyone can just post their team or their team paste very freely, right? So there's gonna be so much information to manage. There's gonna be the rental code, the Poke paste, or the link, or maybe the team report, right? And then the Pokemon and the item. So for me, this was still a work in progress, and I really want to put down as much information as a team at a glance as possible. Because if you don't have such a resource, right, you always have to click here and there through the internet.
Yep.
Yeah, click this link, click back, try and search on Twitter, and then it might take a lot of time. Whereas this is just right in your face, and you are able to get this whole database of teams right off the bat.
This helped us in two ways primarily. The first one is when we were actually prepping with our teammates. Usually someone's gonna say, "Hey, I need to test a Caddy Shadow matchup."
Yeah, bring a Calyrex team to fight me. Right?
Then, like I for example, my preferred team is Deaga, so I don't have any Caddy Shadow teams. Then I just go to this database.
Yeah, and all the Pokepaste are there.
I pick one. I think which one is the flavor of the month, or which one do I think are they more likely to bring, and that's why it's also important to see the who the creator of the team is. So sometimes you have teams, for example, Manuel Barrea's team. There'll be some teams that are made by let's say people in the Spanish community, and so if you're playing against a Spanish player, they're more likely to actually bring that team over other variations of that team. So it allows you to pick the type of team you want to test against. So that's the first way. It saves you time when prepping. Then the second way it helps is we encourage our players to have this open during the match. Oh, there, nice.
Yeah, you can see the items.
You can see
at a glance.
Imagine that if we have this open with you during the match, then you see
the 6 months.
You see the 6 months. You just have to look for which of the 6 months are the same here. And so, for example, this team, the Tama team, the Calyrex Cinderace team, is like, now you know immediately. Okay, the Wims has the sash. The Urshifu is banded. The Calyrex is specs. Like, that's really important information. You know that this
really
team,
helps,
let's say, doesn't have protect essentially.
Yeah.
It really helps you plan your moves, and maybe if you really have time, but I don't think anyone that did this because it takes too much effort. But if you had your calc open, you could actually calc on the spot. But I personally find it really difficult to calc during games, so I don't expect our players to
I remember in the first 3 weeks, like some of our players said, "Oh, the spreadsheet was so helpful and it helped to win the match." Yeah, so it's very nice to see. But one big warning for anyone who wants to do this, because it's very nice as a manager to do it for your team. It's also very nice as a team member to kind of help your team out in this aspect. Because on Discord you can just put like team dump, and then you just dump a lot of teams, but you really need to keep scrolling up to find.
There's an effort that.
So it comes down to how you manage information. But my warning for anyone who wants to do this is you need to upkeep it. Even I personally didn't upkeep it towards the end.
Actually, this was mainly my responsibility. So towards the end, it just got tough. I mean, first of all, there were less tours that were coming out, so less people posting their team.
The format, like, there's no official tours. There's no official circuit to even play for. I mean, maybe there's like the Safio Latam, but it's still very hard to get more teams or get like the more famous teams out here.
Yeah. I remember Juan Simon actually, when he played this match, he wanted to use Kyurem, but then I think he ran out of time last minute, so he just got he went to this database and got Vigi's team, and that was no problem with that, right? That's he got the win. That's what's important, and he was able to use one of the resources.
Yeah, it just so happens, right, because it's on card, right, and Vichy's rental code is still available after
Yes.
3 months.
Thank you, Vichy, for not taking down your rental code.
Yeah, so that's about it. That's like sort of setting up this spreadsheet, and I kind of made it private so that you have to access request access based on like Google email.
I
or
have
something.
to approve your email.
Yeah, so that this is like as secret as possible, and then no one can get this resource. So it's only for our team.
Yeah.
It's not selfish, right? It's something that you kind of work together as a team to achieve.
Yeah.
Then I tried doing this in Team Singapore. It was just super tiring, especially when you are a player, because you kind of have to worry about your match for that week and set things up and like work on a spreadsheet at the same time. So it's really very taxing for anyone who really wants to try it out. Yeah. So for me, this season it's very different because I was a manager and I didn't have the stress to prepare for a match, to grind on Showdown, and I really just put like effort into the scouting.
Basically,
spreadsheet.
the players who are not playing for that week or our sponsored players would help us out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of the team database. Like ultimately, like my question was like, was this helpful, right? Like to reflect upon what we did and my experiences with trying to develop something that can help everyone with scouting.
Yeah, I mean, essentially for some of our matches, it's as if they were playing with open team sheet, but then it was closed team sheet for
That
us.
was a bit of an advantage. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Our teams are kind of crazy, like the teams that Cortex brings, the teams that My Stars bring. But then as compared to the teams that they're going to face, you can immediately pull the pace and then kind of know generally what this set can do.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped. I think that helped.
That helped
for
a
sure.
lot. That helped a lot.
So to answer my question, was it helpful? I think it does. And is it worth the effort? I feel like, yeah, to some extent,
I mean,
you can
to be honest,
be proud of it.
putting in one team does not take too much time. It takes 1 or 2 minutes, to be honest.
Yes,
Because you set up the
yes,
Excel.
yeah. So one key like consideration was to set it up so that you can input stuff fast.
All we have to do,
you can also sort of show here, right? Like for example, like this Rillaboom, instead of Miracle Seed, like I want to do like Life Orb, then it should.
No, it's not here. No, you don't change that. That's the formula. You change it here.
Oh yes.
So essentially, all you have to do is go to this part, input the Pokemon.
Yeah, like you can even
item.
type like something like Showdown. You just type Feeny, and then it will show like Tapu Fini.
There. You see, the drop out. Drop down,
So with
drop
all these drop down menus, right, it makes things faster to key in stuff. So very similar to Showdown, but in spreadsheet form. Yeah.
So so you just have to input the Pokemon and the items, which already is made easy for you. Then just put in the paste, put in the rental code, put in the Twitter source, and just put who the creator was.
Yeah.
Apparently, we have 2 Joe UX9 teams here.
Yeah. So one more thing about this point of meeting the team, setting up our Discord, setting up our team in general. We also tried to do like a team tour, right? Do you remember like the beginning, getting to know each other, and then like team night.
That was fun.
Yeah. So I think this is something that definitely every manager does. So we're trying to like recounting, what we did. Yeah, it was a very fun experience to get to know this bunch of mostly strangers, right? That we're gonna be working with for the very first time.
Yep. That's right.
So that's all for meeting the team. Yeah, there's 3 more points only. Our weekly prep.
I'll let you talk about the weekly prep.
Weekly prep. Oh my god, it's on me again.
That was a lot of the work there went
So
to.
yeah, like I said, coming off of World Cup, yeah, I'm quite a perfectionist myself in terms of showing information, helping someone out, like helping with prep in particular. So on the topic of prep, yeah, if we go to something like scout, I think it's all the way to the left, right? There's scouting. Yeah, and also, yeah, so scouting, for every team that we are going to face, there are 7 players that we are going to fight. Yeah, so I really want to let my player know who we are going up against, what their tendencies are, and what teams they tend to bring. So putting Pokemon in sprites, right, is really one of the best ways to convey information. That's why on Twitter, you tend to see when someone shows their league results, right, then they will show a showdown image of all the teams, right? then putting everything visually, you can see trends. You can see like whether they always are particular about a fire water grass core, whether they always tend to use Incineroar or not, and these are trends that can be helpful. Yeah, personally, back when I was doing World Cup, I could find all this information. Yeah, sure. Like we put all this information in front of me, but as a player, like I really couldn't. I still didn't have that maturity to figure out like, oh, this guy tends to be a hyper offensive player, or this guy is a balanced team player. Then I didn't really use it well in World Cup, and then going into this, I really wanted to correct my wrongs, right, and then translate it into something new. And I felt like I did quite a good job. I was able to give my players package of information for them to digest, and give them just 1 or 2 videos to watch to see how their opponent plays, and that really saves a lot of time on their end in terms of scouting. So I was willing to put in the effort and do that job, and like what the player can do from then on would be to just access digest the information and then go ahead to practice.
And that's where I would really want to give a big shout out to our players. They are so good at digesting that information.
Yes, yes.
I think I'm the same as Evan, where if you gave me these things, it's not immediately obvious to me what kind of team I should use. But we have, like, for some of our players, Evan just gives them this information pack, and then suddenly you're gonna see in Discord they're gonna say,
they reply us in their channels.
They're gonna say like, okay, I think if that's the case, I'm gonna use a Kali Ice team. I think this is what they're gonna do this week, and I think this team is gonna be good. I'm gonna make these specific adjustments and texts to account for some of the things that they like doing. It's amazing how they were immediately able to know what they need to do against this player.
Yeah, ultimately it felt like we were equals, and like I'm not teaching people things, or I'm not like giving people jobs, but then it was sort of a collaborative effort, collaborative effort where myself and our players, like we just work together to fight this guy that we're gonna fight for the win. Yeah, very fun.
I remember I think it was Mando's first week, and he went up against Lucamere, and I think we showed Mando.
That was for week 2. Like week 2,
week 3. I think it's here.
You can control F, I guess.
It's all the way down here.
Yeah, Rayquaza.
I remember. So I think we just showed this to Mando that Lucamere just tended to use this particular team, and then he immediately knew that I think Mando brought dual weather. Yes. Mando doesn't play dual weather, but he saw this team and said, I think dual weather would be good into this. So he asked Tara, who's a great dual weather player on our team, to kind of just give him tips and like, here's the pace and here's what you do. And then Mando practiced with dual weather, and he beat Lucamere. I remember there's a bit of hacks involved, but I think Lucamere gave the set to Mando, and I think Lucamere's like, wow, nice
prep,
like nice prep.
Yeah.
So
then there's
that was
also
so good.
Some things that maybe players or managers who want to take note of is that the concept of counter teaming. It really came up during team leagues, right? And I think it's been on and on like ever since NPA started. Yeah, NPA has been on for 10 years, and then there's this delicate balance of whether to counter team an opponent on purpose, or to sort of soft counter team and just prepare for as many things that you expect them to bring.
Yeah, because at the same time, let's say if I were to see this, and then I'm gonna say, is Lucamere gonna bring a similar team for the 3rd straight week?
Yes.
Maybe not. And personally, I tried to counter this particular player in the Philippine Pokemon League during my run. It was the first round of playoffs. We were up against the top-seeded team. And then this player, I think for the whole regular season, or at least 3 straight weeks, used the same team. I hard countered it. I remember I prepped with Evan and Hakim for that. And he brought a totally different team that just my team had zero answer for. So I lost 0-2. Like, that was, I guess, I put all my eggs in that counter team in basket, and it didn't work out.
Yeah, so I felt like props to really props to our players, like Andrew mentioned, to just digest the information and adapt, you know, and then come up with the solution by themselves.
It was so good to see.
Yeah,
actually.
so it's such a good collaboration experience. From my end, yeah, there's something else I wanted to
the roster management. Do you want to go to that first? Or?
Oh yeah, we can. Yeah,
Yeah.
we can talk about that before I come back to it.
Okay. So
For me, okay, wait. One last thing I wanted to say, you know, in terms of scouting, is that these are just big walls of information to push to someone.
especially for those with a lot of teams.
And for me personally, I'm very particular about presenting that information. That's why a lot of people can see a trend in my spreadsheets that with a lot of colors to make it look as neat as possible. I'm very particular about placing the Pokemon as well. So it's always restricted, followed by fire, water, grass, so that you can always see trends. Then I really pride myself in presenting that information very clearly. Yeah, so that's just one thing. If anyone wants to do this in the future in terms of scouting, these are some tips you might want to take note of. Yeah. So besides that, right, besides scouting players, we also have like roster management, right? That comes actually before scouting.
Yeah, so the roster management essentially, I was in charge of sending the rosters every week of which players
That's
we're
one
going
important
to,
job of a manager.
are going to play, and it actually has a bigger impact than most people think. Like, you might just say, I'm just gonna send whoever, you know, this is my list of 7 players, but you can
There's so many
also,
factors.
there are a lot of factors, and you can also try to see if the other managers have some kind of trend in the way that they order their
place,
players,
yes.
so that you can try to set up yourself for success. There are multiple ways to think about this. One is you might want to say, I want my best players to go up against their best players also, so that it's kind of like a coin flip or something like that. The matchups are even. But there's also another perspective where you want to quote unquote rig some matches in your favor, so that you can somehow guarantee yourself. I mean, of course, nothing's guaranteed, but you have a better chance of getting a certain number of wins. For our team, because as I said, our teammates, like, we can trust any one of them to win games, and there's not really clearly these players are much better than the others. It doesn't really matter too much to us who they get paired up against, but there are some players where we know maybe certain players know those other players a bit better, and that would allow for a good matchup.
There's this one mindset that we put in our, like, in the back of our heads, right, going into this, because the main goal for a team league is to win games.
Yeah.
The more as long as you win like 4 games, you win the week, right, of
Yeah.
7. So having players who are very confident, and then having to be able to roster players who are very confident, it just makes it a bit smoother for us in general. There's one more factor I wanted to remind you of, which is every week you always ask whether you are available, right? The availability.
Yeah. I'll go through that process, I guess. I think with regards to the order, the only example I wanted to give was when we went up against
A strong,
Pride and Gains, like for the playoffs. We were trying to figure out where they would put certain players. So I think for Pride, it was, we were concerned about where Kyogre would be. And then actually Kyogre and Torviv. And then for Games, we were primarily concerned about where Tiki and Tayo would be. So I'll give the example for Games. For the past 3 weeks,
there's a trend.
The Gains have been putting Tiki and Tayo as their first 2 slots. I could call them changing it, but I felt maybe it's just best to put Mando and Vichy in the first 2 slots to end up going against Tayo and Tiki. And we ended up getting those matchups. So, I mean, spoiler alert, we lost the Gains.
Yeah, we lost the finals.
But I mean, on paper we were happy with that kind of pairing, and that's the type of those are the types of matchups that we want to see. So basically my process was the following. I created a spreadsheet that actually
If you want, you can zoom out.
is an automated spreadsheet that allows me to see how many weeks each player plays and which weeks do they play. So on the left hand side here, I can input the names of our players, and there's a drop down list so that I can switch them up. And then I just created an automated way to check for that. And I wanted to balance our players' playing time, so we didn't want to have someone
who plays like 6 weeks, right? And then only one person will play 1 week.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So you can see here we tried to balance. Initially, the target number was 3.
Okay.
So I highlighted those that only had 2 games so far, and then I also put a warning on those that already had 4, so that we don't need to make them play another game. Then so we ended up balancing it out pretty well. Only Poker, Kwanzi, and Patilak played 2 games, but Kwanzi and Patilak also came on board a bit later on. Yeah. And then everyone else was able to play at least like 3 or 4 games. Nice. So like you can, it's a neat little tool, because when I was trying to figure out like who to play for games, like you can change names. It even tells you when I've duplicated a name by mistake. So that's pretty cool. And then essentially once I've confirmed who I want to play for the week, I essentially take this list, I put it in our Discord, and I ask them if they're available to play for the week or not. If everyone confirms that they're available, then I submit the roster. And I might change the order a bit here. Again, I do a bit of research on what the opposing team
That's so cool,
will end up doing.
Yeah, so I think props to Andrew for also always managing this aspect and managing the time zones, right? And always making sure that ahead of time, like whether these people can play or not before sending in the roster. So I think our team always sends the rosters like on time, right? Because we have to
we always send
preempt that we are going to sleep for 8 hours, and then we have to send it beforehand.
I send the message to ask if people are available probably like Sunday morning our time in Singapore, and the rosters are due 24 hours after.
Which is Saturday night, like US time.
So on Sunday night, our time, I go to sleep. Monday morning, just before the deadline, I wake up. I see if there's any comments. Usually there are none. Then I just send the roster. So yeah, that's how it works.
Yeah. Then one quick thing to round out with this table is that everyone's records are all sort of, at least they all won a game, right? I think you're quite happy.
Yeah, I think.
Except for Patilak,
poor Patilak. Poor Patilak.
Patrick had to play so much.
I mean, props to Patilak as well. He
there was like this last minute.
He had to sub in last minute. That was a tough situation to be in for anyone, I think. And still kind of stepped up to play, and that was a potentially crucial match for the playoff hopes of the Pride, I think.
Yeah.
But all good. And I'm just happy that the players were able to play enough games and win. And I think that's really important. I think everyone had their kind of like shining moments. I would say instead of someone like hard carrying a team, right? For some teams, they actually draft a very top-heavy draft with like maybe 5 expensive players, and then the rest are all 3K. Then it felt quite imbalanced. But then for our team, I really enjoy it. Even our players said that they enjoy our environment, right? Whereby sort of everybody played and it felt like teamwork instead of just some people hard carrying the team. Yeah, and I would say if we think about what happened every week, there's some players that really stood out for that week. So for example, like I think week 1, Esquire clutching that crit onto the Zygarde that allowed him to win game 3, that allowed us to win against the Spectrum 4-3. Week 2 against the Gains, Mao beating Tiki.
Yes.
That was very interesting.
There are a few upsets, right?
That was an example where we gave Mao as much information as we could about Tiki's team.
Yeah, and he decided just bringing Lapras.
Mao was like,
oh my god.
Mao was like, did he actually end up using Lapras that much. I don't think so, but the team itself, like
Yes.
however the team was built, like it was good for Mao, and he was able to catch TT off guard, and take the win. So, like props to Mao for understanding that that was the team that he needed to use, and that was not the main team that he used for most of Series 11.
Yes.
Like he had to get comfortable with that team, knowing that that probably would be the best matchup into what
had to
TT
practice
would
with the team also.
Yeah.
Grind a little bit on the ladder.
Yeah.
Then there was one week where we made a comeback, right?
That was week 3 against the Ascension, and
back
so
against the wall.
back against the wall. I think Hummus and Mao
Yes.
beat out the
Hummus
last
and
two
Taco,
players.
Taco consumer.
We were joking that we're gonna get tacos with hummus instead of guacamole.
Yeah.
They really crushed out that week. Week 4, some interesting team building from the team, thinking about the best Necrozma Duskmane team to bring. Unfortunately, we lost the week, but
it was still close.
Javier, I think Cortex, or no, not Cortex.
There were three players won. Oh, I didn't really come up with this like, we can do this. Yeah, good idea. Because for me, like, I didn't actually come up with a progress report of our team. Yeah, for all 5 weeks. So we have to kind of scroll down this way.
Javier.
Yeah, for anyone
Javier,
curious.
Poker, and Vichy.
Wow. Yeah, I see. It wasn't even that far apart, right? It was still a 4-3 week.
Yeah, exactly.
So real quick, like for anyone curious as to how I managed to collect the data for all the mons, collect the data for all the players, we have to kind of be meticulous every week, because every week there are only 6 times 7 matches. So it's just 42 entries, but you have to kind of put in the Pokemon, put in the players, and put in the scores correctly. Then you can actually use all this information and sieve out all the Pokemon, sort of like what World Cup did. Actually, I was really very inspired in how World Cup let everybody know, like they conveyed their stats to the whole world. So I kind of tried my best to copy it. Mind you, I didn't have much spreadsheet experience. Actually, I don't really have. I feel like Andrew kind of knows spreadsheets more than me because it's part of his job. Then for me, I felt like this is the best way to present the information. But on hindsight, this is not a good way to collect information. So I had to do, hey Mao, what's up?
We were just talking about you, Mao.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard that. Thanks for the follow.
So I was saying like I had to do a lot of like additional steps to get all the Pokemon data out, and I was quite glad that I still managed to do it, because I have to sieve out Pokemon that won the game, right? Or like maybe total number of restricteds, and the player that won, and the player that lost. The player that won has to gain 2 points in terms of games won. Yeah, so this was quite a journey for me across the 5 weeks. I didn't really come up with it back in week 0 or back in week 1. I really had to figure things out along the way.
I would say Evan, again, he says that he's not as experienced with spreadsheets, but I think he's learned a lot about the different functions and things that you can do with a spreadsheet. So these spreadsheets are actually very, very well done, and they're not easy. They utilize some advanced features. So props to Evan for really kind of like learning to go through that all the way.
From what one sort of summary is that you have to balance presenting the information very nicely, and also balance collecting information. Yeah, that's something that you really need to juggle.
I guess we can start talking about this sheet, because this is part of the prep somewhat. Evan showed the scouting spreadsheet where we talked about, or we showed as much information as we could about our opponents.
To summarize, I think I made sure to show the teams this player used, your enemy, your opponent.
Yeah.
Not only that, the games that he played in, like when he fought against this particular team, this particular opponent in the previous week, then what did the opponent use and what was the score? Then maybe are there any VODs or are there any pays that actually were leaked, right, from the opponents, and maybe just a timeline of the teams that they used in terms of chronological order. I was quite particular about that, and then with that I just pushed that package of information out. Yeah, so that's for scouting, just to summarize.
And I think on this, one of the inputs to this scouting would be this EGL stats sheet. So basically, the main spreadsheet of the league was not being updated as much as we wanted it to. So we had to do a lot of stats recording ourselves, and we also, so basically what we've done is we got all the results from the league.
There was this like league results channel where people are it's like the rules you sort of set the rules up so that you have to put your team, the 6 Pokemon, and then the regional variant, like maybe Landorus T versus Landorus I, right? Or Urshifu. If you don't want to, if you didn't review the Urshifu, you didn't come, then it would just be plain Urshifu, and you don't know whether it's dark or water.
Unlike this one, Icarus Urshifu.
So this is the information that we can get, and this is the information that we tried to use as much as we could from the league results spreadsheet.
That Excel sheet still amazes me from Gio. Thanks, Gio, and thanks for helping out. The shoutouts to Gio or Blank. He also helped us a lot in maintaining this spreadsheet.
Yeah, Prism member, Prism people.
Prism Peeps, sponsored player. So I think for this particular sheet, the goal was to capture everything from league results, and then we actually took the next step, which is to associate this with the respective VODs. So sometimes when people post on league results, they also post with Twitch VOD or
like YouTube link.
Maybe YouTube link, and some of them they streamed it, so you can see their stream in the announcements. For a league that is purely on cart, any VOD is extremely valuable to us. Unlike other leagues where you have everything on Showdown,
then you can get Showdown replays.
You have something like this in PGL, if I'm not mistaken. Not with the mons, but you just have all the matchups, and then you have all the replay links there. So you actually can scout, like you have full information about what's happened in the league. Here, not so much. Now, so obviously you can just input the scores and the mons that were used between the teams and their opponents. So we're doing it for all teams, not just
all
our
matchups,
all matchups.
Even from the other division, the Sky division.
Even from the other division. The reason for this is that, assuming that we go to the grand finals, we don't know which of these other teams is going to be in the grand finals with us. We will have as much information as possible about that team when we face them in the grand finals.
Yeah, so low key on my end, this was like thinking ahead because of my experience in World Cup. I realized that, dang, I like some people from opposing teams stream their matches, but then 14 days later the Twitch bot is gone, so I can't see the game that was played.
So that's where this part comes in. There are a lot of Twitch VODs, so we would put all the Twitch links here, and essentially what we did was we used a service called Untwitch, and what Untwitch does is it just allows you to download the actual video file of the VOD, and you can select which part of the stream you want to get. And this is something that we're not going to share to other people because I think out of respect for the streamers, it is technically their property, VODs, and is their VODs. And actually, if you streamed and you don't have the VOD on your channel anymore,
you didn't remember to save it for some reason,
you can actually approach me. I have the VODs. Happy to send the VOD to you so that you have a record of your EGL experience.
Your past games.
But what we've done is so that in case it gets deleted from the channel, we have it downloaded. We uploaded it to my YouTube or Gio's YouTube channel, and it's unlisted, so no one else will be able to see it unless they have the link. And obviously we can't monetize it. It's not something we do for views, but we have the VODs, and that allows our players to review the VOD if they want to at any point in time.
Yeah, you can scout the opponent's team in terms of the moves, in terms of the speed stat, whether they outsped some certain mons or not.
And a really small cheeky thing that I try to do when I cut the VODs, I try to cut them right from the moment where the streamer will show their team selection. when they select the team that they're going to use, because that shows you a bunch of the other teams that they have saved as either rental codes or teams that they've built. So it's a cheeky way of seeing what else do they have that they might be able to bring in a different week.
So all this is just about managing information, and if you are really meticulous about it, if you just pay a little bit more attention, these are important things that you can get to get an edge over your opponent.
Yeah, and again, we have to resort to this because the games are on cart and not everyone shows their stuff. I mean, in another league that I played with that was also purely on cart, the Philippine League,
information is very scarce.
Almost no information at all, and you even had to like message like their previous opponents and see if they're willing to give you any information, if they actually have any information at all.
Yeah, so it was kind of a blessing that I came off of World Cup with this idea, because in World Cup not all the matches were featured, and it felt quite hard to scout. There was a week I remember in Singapore, Hakim will definitely remember this, where it was Singapore versus Italy, and it was so easy to scout because they were streaming. Like all our opponents were streamers, and we could steal teams from their streams because they grind that team on the ladder. And then we realized that actually the Italians passed their teams around. So the moment we saw these like maybe Xerneas with an Ente and a Toko, oh my god, it felt so familiar. Then we were able to get that team from another streamer's streams. Yeah.
So what's next on our list?
Like what we wish we could have done more, right? You said something like this in terms of weekly prep.
So I think the main thing that we could have done more was really around.
Wait, do we need to answer the door?
Just hang on. Maybe I'll be right back.
I'll be right back. Screen. Are we still?
Why does this keep moving?
Wow.
Why does this keep moving? That's so weird.
Yeah.
Okay. Locked. Alright, we're back. Sorry about that. So we were talking about what we could have done better.
Yeah, like in terms of weekly prep, you know.
So one thing that I feel like we didn't do as much is actually team build. What I mean by that is it's not like we laddered together and then let's say figured out that this particular team is a good counter to the meta, and then everyone's gonna start using that team, right? Maybe it's also because Series 11 is an old format, and so there are just so many teams there
available
that you can just use yourself. But some of our teammates did do their own team building.
Yes.
That's where the pairs come in handy. Like My Stars and Amaze would build their teams. They build very creative teams, and then they would even work. I know they also work with Nontaro from the Thai community, and let's say Hamas and Javier also working together, building teams, sparring together.
Yes.
Azulite just grinding the ladder and trying to figure out what's good in this meta. So in a way, different people had different ways of navigating the meta and building teams, but it's not like we kind of
did it together
and
team.
Found like a meta breaking team.
Yeah.
Like I think that's the thing. Like if we look at the Eternatus team that won the Taiwan regionals. That was a super creative team. Eternatus, Dusclops, Reggie Aleki, Araquanid, and somehow they were able to work together on that team and build it as a counter for most of the meta teams, especially the weather ones, right? So, like, we were not quite able to come up with something like that. Actually, shout outs to Esquire for trying a lot of like really crazy stuff.
I remember that too. Yeah.
So
good call.
Using the Drampa to control weather, and then trying out.
Like me trying out Sogaleo. Trying out Rayquaza.
Yeah. So interesting stuff that happened in pockets rather than like a collective team effort. So maybe that's something we could have done better.
Yeah, that's something that we wish we could have done more. Maybe develop teams and team build together as a whole as Necrozma Prism. Right?
Yeah.
So that was all for weekly prep. Then we can briefly talk about like maybe the mid-season traits or your thoughts on that.
I mean, not much for me for mid-season.
There were quite a few background traits happening.
My main concern about mid-season was, I guess, that process could have been. Hey, Tio, is it Tio or Tayo? I pronounce it in my head as Tayo. So
easy is pronounced. Yeah, some people pronounce the Americans pronounce it as Tio. But
Nikiru.
In Japanese it sounds like Tayo.
Well, hey, thanks for the follow. We were just talking about, so we were at our weekly prep, just going through like our weekly prep process. Kind of all the tools and things that we use.
Yeah, what we did for scouting.
We have the page.
How we managed the roster.
We have the page on.
When we scouted like Tio for. It's all the way at the top, I think.
No, this is Tiki.
Oh, that's Tiki.
This one, the Tio versus Vichy. Yeah, but anyway, so we're talking about now the mid-season. That was the part that I felt could have been a more transparent process. I feel like there are some trades that were confirmed, but like we didn't know about. And going back to where we ended with the draft, we ended up with the most money in the league. And so when certain players like Sohaib or Viv signed up.
And maybe Atmosphere also kind of wanted to join mid-season, maybe not.
Yeah, we weren't sure because Atmosphere didn't play the Colosseum matches, but let's say Sohaib and Torviv did. We felt initially that I was like, okay, that's easy. We're gonna get at least one of them. We have the most money. And then turns out that there are some trades. We started to see some teams trading. Some of them we knew about. Some others we didn't. So I feel like that process could have been a bit more transparent. And by the time that the mid-season draft came around, we ended up having at least 2 teams that had more money than us, which means that both
Sohaib and Torviv couldn't come to us.
Actually, no, 3 teams even, because Ascension essentially locked in Sohaib. And then Torviv, we were intending to get Torviv, but then eventually Pride had more money, so that was unfortunate. At the end of the day, look, we said whatever. All these teams, there were a lot of trades that needed to be made, but for our team, we were happy with the players that we had. They were doing really well. And
we also kind of came off of a 3-week, like successfully 3-week.
We actually already guaranteed playoffs at that time. So that was, in a way, less pressure for us. And I think more importantly, we had Juan Simon and Patilac, who also put in a lot of effort.
We also kind of sponsored them as well.
We sponsored them
along the way,
and they put in a lot of effort in the Colosseum. So we wanted to really give them that chance to shine in our roster, given that we're not gonna draft anyone else anymore. And it really paid off. Like we ended up it looks like on paper we spent all our money on them, but that's what we had to do to be able to get them. We know that we wanted them on the team anyway, instead of going to another team.
And as a player, right, like from upgraded from someone who we sponsored, so you could feel good from their point of view.
and it it paid off. I mean, Hatilak was able to really help us out in testing some of our teams and even subbed for that crucial match. And then Juan Simon actually went 2-0.
Yeah.
Really good. Again, Juan Si is another one of those players where we just showed him the information, and then
It
he's
could
like,
be the Spanish difference because he's from Spain.
you just showed him the information, and then he immediately knew what to do.
Both of them were like, I think they DM'd me. I forgot whether I mentioned to you, but they kept thanking us for the opportunity to play. It's also very heartwarming to see.
Yeah, very, 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 very wholesome stuff. So, I think that's what we did for the mid-season. We saw all the other moves being made, but we were not comfortable trading any of
the
our
background
players. And I think we were happy in the end that we didn't change our roster. And just to be clear, I don't think we're not to say that other managers were being sneaky. I think it's more like the process from the administrative point of view could have been more transparent, because I would also not really broadcast that these are the trades that we're willing to make, especially if they're not that final or if there's a lot of teams involved. So I think it's just about having the proper timeline of trades and having an up-to-date budget or balance of coins or dollars remaining for each team. That would have helped us plan the mid-season better. But in the end, it didn't matter too much. We got the players that we wanted, so that was all good.
Yeah, so I think that overall that was just our adventure from when, so I'll just briefly recap, right? We talked about our sort of the idea to start managing the league, and then this is our very first time, and what we did to prep before the draft, and we just talked about what we did like to set up the Discord, to meet the team, and also to prep for our weekly matchups. In terms of the roster management, that's from Andrew's end, and maybe the scouting, that's from my end. So we kind of worked very well as a team. We didn't expect this from the beginning, and the more we went into it, like it was very enjoyable to work together.
When we started the season 3-0, we were just so happy because
like let's go!
Like we were just celebrating in the Discords. I mean, we knew that we had what it takes to do well, but at the same time, we also knew that we had a lot to learn as managers. So the fact that we went 3-0 and it looked like the draft was paying off, the players were doing so well, the players were happy,
and it also
it was a great feeling.
Yeah, it's a good feeling in that all the effort you did to prepare, right, to do all the scouting, all the research, and all the organization of information, it really paid off. And then that just feels very good.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, again, given that not many people expect this to do so well, and then for us to come out on top of the division, what I would consider to have been a very challenging division. Obviously, lots of great players on both divisions, right?
Sky and the Spear.
Usually in a league, there'll be some players where you might think on paper they might be stronger or weaker. In this case, we really respected the teams that we had to go up against, and it was so difficult to say that one team was inherently quote unquote a lot weaker than the rest. So we really felt we had to give it our all every week, and for us to come out on top of that after others have also kind of put us on paper as not being as strong.
Yeah, we're always like the team that doesn't win in the predictions, but in the end we won that week. And then Andrew always comes back to me and say, "Wow, so look, everybody looked down on us, but actually we won. Like week 1, week 2, week 3."
Yeah. So that was a great feeling.
Yeah. So I think to maybe round off, we can sort of talk about how we felt we did as managers for this run. It's quite sad to say that the run wasn't clean, right? It wasn't. It kind of ended abruptly and ended very weirdly. But then,
and at the same time, we also wish we could have won.
Yeah.
All the
so
way.
we lost the finals against Buzzwole Games.
And by the way, to anyone who's watching, the Buzzwole Games and the Groudon Magnitude are playing the kind of
grand
finals in the
both
background.
the division champions. Yeah.
We decided to continue. We decided to continue playing after everything that's happened because I think for the players, it's what you deserve. You deserve the closure for all the hard work that you put in the season, and to not have someone be crowned as champion is just frankly very disappointing. So let's stay tuned. And there's actually there's a Discord server where
they set up to arrange the matches.
People are kind of waiting on the gains and the magnitude matches. You can DM me if you want to be invited to that. But right now, I think the score is 2-0 in favor of the Buzzwell Games. So Buzzwell Games looking on track to win the whole thing. And
like starting off the season a bit shaky, but then like sort of working better as a team towards the end, right? And then like having a lot of team spirit and dominating the weeks.
And maybe we are gonna get that bars hot tub stream that people have promised if the games win. So yeah, let's see. We're 2-0, getting a bit closer to that.
But back to like how we felt we did as managers for this season. I really just enjoyed, like we were talking about the past 1 hour plus. We're talking about like the team environment that we fostered, and then the team spirit that actually came out, like from when we won week 1, week 2, week 3, just kind of built, and then we and a lot of our players also coming back to us and saying, wow, this is one of the best experiences they had as a player. Then reflecting upon myself as a manager, I just felt like I don't feel like I'm stronger than a lot of VGC players out there. I just feel like I'm another guy, but then maybe I was just able to communicate my information better, or like come up with better ways to organize information and approach VGC in a different way. And I felt like hopefully I kind of passed that information or passed those ideas down to my players. And I feel like I'm always equal with players, so we are more or less friends going into this. And I'm just very happy that it turned out this way.
I think also for some of the players it ends up being a better experience because you're not joining a player league. I mean, this is not our job. You're not going to join a player league to have a quote-unquote manager that's going to tell you what to do. And even then, like, even if you use if you compare it to like real work of having what a manager is supposed to do, they're not really supposed to like tell you how to do every single detail. That's the trust that you put in the person as someone who you've drafted because you believe in their skills. As managers, we realize we don't have to be the best player on the team. We have to be good enough to understand the game and what's important. And then even, let's say, Evan going through all those VODs and understanding what the player's play style is actually like that, getting to those insights, you don't get that as someone who doesn't play the game. You have to have a very solid understanding of the fundamentals of VGC to understand and make those insights and pass them on to your players. And so it's really just about helping each other unleash the potential of the players that you've drafted.
Oh, what a nice way to put it. Yeah, then there's also some, like maybe just a small point where people tend to think maybe in terms of other esports where you kind of have a manager and a coach. Then in VGC player leagues, the manager coach role sort of meshes together, Then people might think, I really have to look up to you, maybe I have to learn something from you, but it could be seen differently. Like you really could be just equals and approaching, like you said, finding a way to approach the game together and improve each other, right, along the way.
I mean, we of course we tried.
Tio.
You guys are so incredible. It's such a shame you're not having a senior shot landing at some time. Thank you. Yes, that's something. I mean, something definitely for us to consider. Obviously, now we just want to take a break.
Yeah, it was quite a long journey, man. Like I just want to chill for a while. The whole of last week I was just watching shows and playing VDSP.
I'm being very honest. It was tough for me to concentrate on like my day job. It's like
Oh.
at the back of my head, I'm thinking like,
You're also kind of stressed when you put 7 people out there, then whether they'll win or not, right?
yeah. It's like at the back of your head, you're thinking about all these things like I want to scout, I want to help prep, I want to do this and that. But yeah, I think going back, we did try a little bit to give some of our players some advice if there was like some turns in some of the replays that we feel they could have done better. But ultimately, it's not about correcting mistakes. Again, it's just about growing together as players. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Oh, I added this extra point about final thoughts. But I think that's most of the things that we said.
And Tayo's managing a team
for Smallbone Winter League.
Smallbone Winter League. Yeah. Good luck with that.
I like the logo. Everybody likes the logo. The Zoroas.
And I saw the team that you drafted. That looks like a super
so broken. Yeah.
Super.
I don't know how the other managers were able to let you run away.
How did you budget the money for that? That was
Izzy and I were there. Izzy and I were there streaming the whole draft.
Oh yeah, you guys were streaming.
But there was some very sus things that happened because maybe the bot was lagging a bit. Then some very good players were drafted for 3K and then we just let it go. Yeah. It's quite fun.
Who was
I don't remember off the top of my head actually.
Was that at work? Was that morning our time?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Morning.
It
was morning.
I see.
Yeah, but then I guess overall that was our adventure with Necrozma Prism, and we just very happy that we made so many friends along the way and learn a lot. Like not just from ourselves, we also learn from our players, right?
Oh yeah, we've definitely learned a lot, and I guess obviously we weren't able to share these thoughts with the other managers until now, but it would be great to also learn. I mean, of course, these are secret stuff, but it would be great to also learn from the other managers, like see what they think. Maybe if there's some people that watch the VOD and see what we've done. It'll be good because I think again, player leagues, I find them. I know Tayo thinks the same way. Like Tayo really enjoys player leagues. I think I'm a person who currently does not really have that much time to join most of the tournaments anymore, like the Starfield, Victory Road. Not only is it a time issue, but it's also a time zone issue. So
it's also one small thing. It's also a region issue because we are not able to collect CP anymore. When the official circuit comes back, we can't even play CP, play for CP anymore. So this is honestly our best way to connect with players from around the world at this point. Like Evan and I, we've essentially given up on going to Worlds. This is something that doesn't seem attainable unless something really changes with the way that the circuit is designed. So we can't actually, we know some of the other Singaporean players or other Southeast Asian players who have attended Worlds have actually made great friends and great connections. I think, I'm not sure, like one of the only Filipino players that has been to Worlds actually gets drafted in NPA from time to time because he's made friends with the people there. So this is our kind of like best shot at doing so. And we really enjoyed the experience and glad it turned out that way, and we're keen to continue to learning more so that whether we manage again or join in the future as players, it's going to be like a better experience for everyone, I think. Yeah, for me one closing thought is that just like this was quite taxing, so I'm just still trying to find a way to manage this information more efficiently. That doesn't require that much time. So just like this is not like the dream, I guess, because like a lot of time is really put into this.
Like we probably spent more time than we might have needed to on some aspects, and could be more efficient about it in the future.
So this is not like the most perfect way to approach a league in any in the off chance someone thinks that this is the best way to do things. This is just an idea, and this was just an idea that I managed to like put so much time in to try and fulfill, and I'm just glad that it yielded results, right? To answer STCY, to start your own well-organized league, right? It's so tough. Because
it's so tough.
Think about it, as managers, we already put in so much time and effort to just help a team win as much as possible. But being a organizer of a league, you have to juggle so many more people, so many more teams.
Both of us have our own fair share of complaints, or not really complaints, but like suggestions on how things could have been run better. But we do recognize that this is really difficult work. It's not easy to be an administrator.
Yeah, we're talking about people from all over the world, and then people like you have to always be present in case last minute there are some scheduling issues, right? Trying to resolve rules, trying to resolve regulations.
I feel like Victory Road did that really well for the World Cup. I think
they were sponsored though.
They were sponsored, yeah, sure, but that aside from being sponsored, the fact that they have a team, I think most
reliable team.
Most leagues would have some of a small team, but the important thing was in Victory Road they really made the segregation of their responsibilities very clear. There will be always a specific person that would help with the team, let's say the roster management or the scheduling. There'll be someone else that will pop into the team chats to resolve disputes.
Yeah, managing the VODs, and then there are even scorekeepers.
Scorekeepers, VODs people. So and even the stream production people. So I think that's really important because if you really want to run the league successfully, there are so many things that you need to take into account, and it's so hard to have that all rest on one person. Even for our manager duties, Evan and I actually agreed before the start of the league that Evan would do this and that, I would do this and that, and if someone doesn't do their end of the job, then you just say, hey, Andrew is like, you haven't submitted the rosters or something, right? You know who that person who should be doing the job, and you know who to contact, and you don't have to worry about so many things. I think that's the thing. Like I never had to worry about scouting because I knew Evan would do that, and then Evan would never have to worry about the rosters because I would have to do that.
Like imagine running the league by yourself and having to worry about every single aspect.
Every single detail.
Yeah, like if you split the job to 2 people, then you easily half the amount of work you need to do. So it's just a pity, that it ended that way. I guess we just have to move on. I didn't really want to say this, but then if anyone is in chat, the commissioner of NPA reached out to me. Oh my goodness! And I'm probably gonna spend the next few months helping NPA out. So let's hope that the whatever I can do actually comes true. I'm gonna put in as much effort as I can and try my best to elevate the quality that NPA can provide.
Yeah, I'll be honest about my feelings about NPA as well. Like I think some people have asked Evan and I if we're going to try manage for NPA. I mean,
it's quite daunting actually.
It is quite daunting, and I think the fact that for example the whole team building part, if that's something that we didn't do as well, that's something I feel like we definitely need to up that part of the game before we can really manage NPA, because I feel like
it's quite different though, because EGL, like some of the players are just beginning or new to the game, whereas NPA is quite established.
It's a bit tougher.
The people that will get drafted are people who have had good results prior.
For sure.
You wanted to try put the Discord window?
Actually, no, I was thinking of I think Mao, are you still there? Because I know there were some players. There were some players that wanted to join us on VC. Because I think for Evan and I, we've talked so much already. This is like a duologue of us just talking. This
can be a good idea for a podcast actually.
We could actually see if any of the Prism players are on and see what they think. I know Mao wanted to say something.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But otherwise, yeah, if anyone wants to just hang out, we'll just chill on stream.
We'll just chill, yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the corner, if anyone wants dittos, you can let me know in chat. Cause I have duplicated a lot of dittos that are useful for breeding.
Just checking your...
This is legitimately caught by me. See? My OT name. I played in a Chinese account and cleared the game to get a national deck so that I can hunt for a ditto. And I was so surprised I was able to get an adamant ditto.
Huh. Okay, nice.
Yeah, so I duplicated the same adamant ditto.
I'll tag Mao. I'll see if he's on.
Yeah, okay. Do you usually do Discord on this laptop? No, right?
No, this is Soph. This is Soph.
Oh. Wait, so yeah, STCY.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mao said can we join VC? I'm not sure if he's actually around though. Hammer said not at home but catch up with the VOD. Yeah, for anyone who stayed all the way to this point with the VOD, thanks for listening to us.
Thanks for
ramble
listening.
on.
We'll save this and upload it to YouTube or something if people want to watch it.
Yeah. Nice.
What I'm hoping is that there are also people out there that will see it and then maybe we get some comments or questions, or maybe some people also share what they've done. I'm sure there are some things that other managers have done that are
there's
pretty
anyone
unique.
in chat who wants to ask us any
unique.
questions, go ahead. Yeah, we put a ask us anything at the top also. It's also getting quite late at night. Oh, maybe
It's 10 because of the daylight savings reversion. It's 1 hour back. So 10 p.m. That's 10 p.m. Eastern and then 7 p.m. Pacific. So it's not too bad.
Oh, we did say at 10:13. Oh, that was 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, that was quite some time.
But are you able to set up the?
I could.
What's it called? The desktop audio.
You could try it. You can play BDSP first. I'll set this up. You move back a bit so that they can still see your face.
Okay. Let me check if there's anyone who wants anything.
Okay, wait. I'll be right back.
Okay. Who's in chat? Man, Andrew's setup is so different from mine. Because mine is just one laptop. But we are looking at a projector of what we are streaming. And on this side, so it's sort of like having two monitors. As compared to me, I only have one laptop. Okay, I'm gonna check with new mentions. Traits. I'm gonna plug Andrew's stream. Actually, I hope that I managed to tag here. Okay. Oh. My goodness. Copy link. Breeding and trading. Oh my gosh, I'm about to mention 389 people. Okay, I don't care. Send. There's actually, honestly, nothing much else to do for me in VDSP. Oh, the screen is behind the laptop. Okay, let me go on to the OBS. I don't know, Mao hasn't replied, so...
What's up? What happened?
Nothing. I'm just asking if anyone wants to trade, but not a lot of people are in chat.
Okay.
Asana, are you still here?
Oh.
Twitch?
Let's give...
You can actually use your phone, right, to talk on Discord. Oh, and also if you want to, then try setting up the VC. See if it works. On the train, I see.
We'll stream for about 10 more minutes. And
okay.
Then I think we have to end and prepare for stuff.
Okay. Kuribo! Yo!
Hey Kuribo, how's it going?
We spent 2 hours talking about our player draft league experience as managers.
Rambling.
Do you want a Ditto? Give me a code. And I'll give you a Ditto in a bottle cap, I think.
How do I make sure that the Discord voice
can be heard? You have to enable desktop audio in OBS. That's all. Because whatever the desktop hears, right, which is the Discord voice chat, then it will. Maybe you have to add another source. I'm not sure though, because some of it has already the desktop audio input inside already. So it's in here. It's in one of the like maybe it's in settings and audio properties. Josh, give me a code. Let me double check what you wanted. Because I have it pulled up. It's okay. Josh said you wanted an ability patch. I'll give you an ability patch. Yeah, this one. Look at the number of ability patches I have. Boop. 526. Install the plugin that allows per application audio control. Man, I don't know what's that. Do I
per
have
application audio control?
How many bottle caps do I have? Oh my god,
I enabled desktop audio. I don't know that if that does.
So you just have to test the Discord voice chat, see if you can hear anything.
Well, no one's in the chat, so it's fine. We'll end
yeah, we can do it
10
next time.
Yeah, we can do it next time. Maybe Mao had to do something else.
Yeah, but that was successful, Andrew. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job.
Good, nice way to end the experience also.
The closure.
Yeah, desktop audio works fine as well. Let me just DM Kuribo. This is quite an impressive setup. You can even, I mean, this layout, good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
You can
job.
even.
You made the base template and then we just edited it.
Wait, how do you make that corner half opaque rectangle? The one for chat. The one for chat.
Oh, I don't know. Should ask.
Because he has a outline.
Yeah.
This kind of black chalky outline.
I didn't realize that. We can ask Soph.
Okay. I'm going to use the LRL code. Doodlebot!
Doodle, welcome back.
Oh, no.
How's it going? We just had a 2-hour rambling session. Not rambling. Maybe rambling has a negative connotation. But we talked a lot, basically, about our experience managing the Necrozma Prism. So tips on a...
Hey Emmy!
Emmy Lavaverse, thank you for the follow.
Oh, you continue.
Welcome.
Continue.
So for Doodle and Emmy, we were just talking about our experience managing the Prism. So things that people can do during, when managing a team in a VGC Team league. We talked about everything from the starting out as a joke of us signing up as managers to it becoming a reality, and then all the prep that we did before the draft, during the season, all the weekly prep and stuff, and pretty much everything that happened behind the scenes. So we were showing.
Oh yeah, we were showing all these
Things in our spreadsheets. This is our Prism super secret prep sheet where we have all the Series 11 teams that we captured.
Yeah, like a team database.
Team database that people can use while playing their matches. Scouting reports. So this is Evan's hard work, getting information about opponents, and somehow our players can just use this information. They're so good at using this information to figure out what team to bring. We don't even have to tell them what to bring.
Then they can move on to sort of practice with our other players or practice on the ladder.
And then we had the stats of all the games that happened in the league. And I'm not sure if Emmy streamed her matches. We might have.
Emmy did.
So Emmy, FYI,
you can control F.
We essentially recorded everything that we could, all the league results, and then for those people that stream their games, we downloaded them as VODs and then uploaded them to my YouTube channel, which is not like unlisted, so it's only those with the link can see. We just use it for scouting purposes, and obviously we're not sharing this with anyone else but Prism. So if you stream, let me check it. Yeah, if you want the VODs, if you didn't save your VODs yet, if you didn't save your VODs from your stream yet and you want them, I can send them to you if you want. Props for winning
this was
with
the
Scissor.
Scissor team.
Scissor is my favorite. I tried to put Scissor on every team. So
as can be seen from Andrew's display picture.
Yeah, I put Scissor in everything. So yeah, let us know if you'd want that. We have people's VODs that can send it to you, so you can upload it on your own channels.
Otherwise, I think you're gonna end stream. Right? Sounds amazing. It's a lot more practice than I have. So interesting though. Like, we both reflected as managers who weren't playing. Oh, it's Captain Tanda. Oh, I know who that is. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the sub. Oh my gosh.
Wow,
Thank
it's
you.
a sub.
Thank you.
Let's go.
How are you? How are you doing? Are you streaming this weekend as well? We were just talking about our experience running a team in a league. I guess if you think about fantasy basketball or fantasy football, it's quite similar, but this time we don't just rely on what happens in official professional sports. We actually work with our players and help them with their matches. So yeah. While the founders badges are here, yes.
Wow. Oh yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotta plan your lineups. Yeah. Wait, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. What was my point?
We were talking about the VODs. Was it about?
Oh, I lost my train of thought.
Or maybe in response to Doodle. a lot more practice.
A lot more practice, yes. Because we weren't playing as managers. Some managers can sign up to play in the league, but then we were too sort of washed up in terms of VGC. Then instead we help our players practice, and then we get our games in that way. So it's quite interesting.
It's more like I didn't really want to ladder so much. Like honestly, this whole year, I've laddered so much less, and I revisited one of my showdown alts from last year.
Wow.
It turns out that on one account, I played Series 5 for 500 plus games. And now it's I have less than 100 games on my alts. It's I really
back when we
stopped laddering, but then
we would try hard.
We were still able to enjoy. I mean, doing tryouts, playing practice matches with our teammates. Those were all fun. You still get to play VGC just without the whole ladder anxiety or all the pressure that goes with playing in big tours. It's just really playing for fun, no stakes. You're just enjoying. To answer your question, we'll be streaming tonight. Nice. Have fun. And thanks for dropping by. Why is Finion just floating there?
Yeah.
That's so weird. Can you walk around?
Yeah.
So cute.
It chases you.
But there's no water. Those fish should be dead. Anyway. Oh. Mao is...
Oh no, it says yeah.
Okay, join...
Are you on stream?
Join... what's that?
Just VC, chill out.
VC,
Yeah. Break it,
chill out.
Some lag.
Hey Mao. Wait. I think Mao is...
Will you be able to
talking?
hear him through?
Oh yeah. Mao, can you say something? We heard your voice.
We're not sure if we can pull you up on stream as well.
Let's see if Mao can be on stream.
That's an unfortunate. I do.
Oh,
Do you want to touch straight?
Oh, you can't hear us. Well, you tune into the stream. You'll hear us through the stream.
Josh, this is my... Oh wait, Doodle Bob. No, that's Josh. A bit off topic, but I started a new little project with a group of friends. Started running a small little cup draft league. Yo, that's fun. A lot of work has to be put in organizing, so take it easy. Yeah, it's a weekly thing. It's just gonna take you away from a lot of your, regular stuff. And you really just have to see it through all the way to the end because it's gonna be very fulfilling. Yeah, like what we talked about our draft league experience as a manager. Yeah, Milo.
Wait.
But then I only have one. Josh, do you wanna?
Okay, I feel a little weird talking alone.
Oh my god!
Oh, hey, Mao.
But then I only have one.
But,
Wait, let me hear. Let me check in.
Okay, I feel a little weird
The
talking
mic is yours.
Oh, hey, Mao. Yeah, you can be heard on stream.
Do you wanna?
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so, I just wanted to I'm Mao.
Yeah, you can
Wait.
Where are you from? How long have you played VGC?
Yeah, so, I just wanted to
It's a bit of a dish.
Yeah, so I'm out. Yeah, I just wanted to say I think it's
Hey, Mao, can you hear us now?
the way EGL ended was pretty sad. But I don't regret it, and I just wanted to shout out Tyson and Evan because they really were great managers, and yeah, I wouldn't even have played the league if they hadn't scouted me. So yeah, okay. but
That's cool.
Oh, wait. It's.
Oh my god, it was I'm so sorry we were delayed.
Oh, the
There might be an
echoing
echo.
projector too loud. I see. Okay. Mao, if you can hear us. Can you hear us? I think you should hear us on Discord.
Oh no, he left the Discord chat. He just wanted to shout us out.
Shout us out.
Thanks.
Hey, Mao.
Yo, sorry we had some technical difficulties here with the OBS.
Yeah, sorry about that. If you felt weird talking alone, thank you so much for the kind words, and you know, we're really happy that you enjoyed the experience. I think going back again to when Evan scouted you, that was really, that was really fortunate for us that you went through the tryout process and we were able to see how good of a player you were. So thanks so much for the kind words.
Nice.
And we're happy that Mao got drafted into one
both
of the small
AML and Smogon.
and Smogon.
Yeah.
Ah, nice. Yeah, so Mao's gonna be
pretty
pretty busy.
Like, this was Mao's first proper draft league, the EGL. And then he went on to play like for AML and Smogon Winter League, where he was I think either the third or fourth player to get nominated by Tekka. Yeah, so that was
nice.
That still feels like a good accomplishment,
I'm just gonna reply to Mao on Discord, and I guess you can continue trading. But thanks a lot again, Mao.
I feel like I might have to duplicate my logic, but
I think I remember during the first week. I remember Mao played a lot of Series 10, so there's a bit of uncertainty around like Dynamax and stuff.
yeah.
But then Mao absolutely killed it. Like after the first week.
Mao was like worried, right, that he might not be able to adapt to the Dynamax format. Yeah, but just very hardworking and practiced a lot. With friends or with other teammates. Thanks for coming on, Mao. Sorry we were a bit messy. For now, Josh, if you're in chat, I can only touch trade, but I kind of want to try and duplicate mons on stream also.